Halito, high vibrations, Jukala. Peace and love, everybody.
Halito, Chimachukma, Chiholo Lee. I love everybody out there. Peace and blessings. Sorry about that, Empress. Go ahead.
Okay, Halito, everyone. Welcome. Come on in and let's build. Go ahead, yeah, Zoe.
Peace to the gods and goddesses. 10 toes down, boots to the ground.
Hey, hey.
So y'all know how we do. We're gonna play a couple songs, play a few songs, let the chat let the chat build up, and then we will get right into it.
Come on in.
Let me make sure I share the what you call them. My bad, y'all. I want to make sure I click to share the audio.
Yeah, truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. Truth can't be told, it gotta be realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Can't be told, it gotta be realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't realized. Freedom ain't free, it ain't realized. Freedom ain't, it ain't legalized. Realize, realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Real eyes, realize. Freedom ain't free, it ain't legalized. Real eyes, realize. Yeah, slavery was a long time ago. How? Same motherfuckers still here right now. Colonized on our land, they ahead of us. Changed our name so much, they scared of us. Children of the sun, y'all don't compare to us. Pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Talking about America, pale-faced people, this ain't y'all area. Even up the playing field, bitch, I'm darn. How you a victim, bitch, you a Karen. Cognitive dissonance, you don't need sperm. You got white privilege, so you don't need sperm. Looking at my homeland, man, I can't believe her. Colonized came here, they ain't never leave her. Indians ain't die off cause we here. You ain't gotta lie, just say you won't be here. How you American but not indigenous? 400 years still ain't get rid of us. All Europeans, naturalized citizens, made all the Indians niggas on the census. 1492, we was on the fences. Civil rights movement, we was so defensive. Black Wall Street, whites got so offended. Common law rights gave us amendments. Thank God don't speak truth, that's alright. First slave 1619 was all white. 1200 wasn't no continent, all white. Europe named after a black woman, alright. Grafted, it come from us, do your research. Go within, quit listening to the teacher. And the Nuki got voice coming out the speaker. Cut our trees down and made us weaker. Really they foreigner, the shit gets deeper. Whites don't know where whites come from either. I'm Aboriginal, we come from the ether. Ruling over us in our land, that's evil. Being colonized right now, black people. Prisoner of the war, that's why it ain't equal. Wake up everybody, don't be no sheeple. Freedom ain't free, really freedom is illegal. And we can't get mad at this. Whites act like we can't see their advantages. Privileges real, they working in management. Low down dirty, but they calling us savage. They want you to think they above us. All white people are part-time judges. I ain't no racist, but I ain't no sucker. I ain't no African, but they my brothers. Been lied to, I got built up anger. You built everything, still waiting on the savior. Don't call yourself black, please do me that favor. Black tourmaline will protect you from a hater. Listening to your oppressors is dangerous. Gave us a Bible and stole our nation. Said we couldn't read what we didn't know the language. Kept us on paper because we didn't see the danger. American Indian, keep the religion. Skin copper color look just like a penny. Wanted our land and you called us stingy. Ain't no Democrats there together, pay attention. We got ancestors, but the papers is missing. Kings and queens, but you can't remember. Remember who you are, just like Simba. Now they got a vax, we don't want that in us. George Washington is the ninth president, look it up. United States, only 10 square blocks, look it up. White people really the minorities, look it up. Courtrooms don't got authorities, look it up. You want me, say stop governing me. Gave me a straw man, it's really not me. Why you don't keep it 100 with me? Why Trayvon killers still walk around free? Made this song for the truth, don't hate it. History was told in reverse, I've stated. Read still oppressed, somebody gotta say it. I'm taking out of school, that's the reason I made it. History, it's his story. History, it's his story. History, it's his story. History, it's his story. It ain't my story. History, it's his story. It's his story. Probably ain't your story. History, it's his story. It's his story.
That's Threads 3000. And I'm gonna put the link in the chat for that video if y'all have not heard that. Check that out. On to the next. Y'all come in, put your feet up, light your bongs, your blunts, or your whatever you're lighting. Get your glass of wine. Come on in, y'all.
Let's talk.
Well, I want to say one thing real quick before we talk.
Mm-hmm.
Peace and power and blessings on the other side, little cousin Breonna Taylor. I seen her in the picture y'all got on there. You know what I'm saying? That's little cuz. So, that's beautiful.
Yes, yes. Justice for all our people.
Facts.
Y'all niggas on, huh? I heard somebody let the FBA niggas in the back door, nigga. What y'all niggas doing, nigga? Huh? Yeah. Type of shit y'all on. Huh? I thought y'all niggas was for the struggle, nigga. Fuck that black shit. Y'all let this nigga walk in here and turn y'all into motherfucking foundation of black aboriginal tribes. 365, my niggas ride solid and toes on the ground. We stand on everything we saying we do, cause ain't no sucker shit around us allowed. Real niggas that'll look in your eyes. We the niggas can't hang around. I told you before that your niggas ain't solid like mine. Nigga, I put that on tribe. Nigga, I put that on tribe. Nigga, I put that on tribe. Yo niggas ain't solid, yo niggas is flawed. Them niggas ain't nothing like mine. Niggas ain't ready to stand up and fight. Nigga, I'm watching this shit with my eyes. Foundation on black aboriginals joined in the ops. Niggas so out on the tribe. Hey. Yo niggas ain't nothing like mine. Yo niggas ain't nothing like my niggas. Yo niggas sold out on the tribe. We on some other shit, nigga, no lie. Whatever y'all niggas is on it, we on that shit too. We some Midwest Indians, nigga. We first out, fuck nigga, let's get this shit clear. We ain't them other niggas. You gon' respect us, so shit gon' get hectic. Now how you won't go about this fuck shit? Nigga, you gotta be out your mind. Thinking you about to come take us eyes. We ain't them Indians riding no dick. We the ones that's gon' fuck up your life. Laugh now, nigga, cry later. On sight, that's the game we playing. Remember how Toby had got his ass beating in roots? Well, your ass can hit that shit too. Fuck with them other niggas on, nigga. They let you walk up in here with your agenda. Fuck all that black shit you talking and spitting. You gon' respect these American Indians, huh? You gon' respect the fact that we indigenous. You gon' respect the fact that we original. We ain't them African niggas you play with. You gon' get fucked up by real aboriginals. We ain't let you in, they did. We ain't sucking dick, they is. Black niggas told all you niggas to jump in. You FBA Indians winning. Them niggas y'all rockin' with every day. Them niggas ain't real, man. Them niggas fake. Them niggas character flaws say it all. And you women these scared of that pit of snake. Now that's some different shit, nigga. I can't. Them niggas ain't solid. They fight every day. To fuck up your life and your background with knife. But murder your name while they spit in your face. Huh? 365. My niggas ride solid and toes on the ground. We stand on everything we saying we do. Cause ain't no sucker shit around us allowed. Real niggas that'll look in your eyes. We the niggas can't hang around. I told you before that your niggas ain't solid like mine. Nigga, I put that on tribe. Nigga, I put that on tribe. Nigga, I put that on tribe. Yo niggas ain't solid, yo niggas is flawed. Them niggas ain't nothing like mine. Niggas ain't ready to stand up and fight. Nigga, I'm watching this shit with my eyes. Foundation on black aboriginals joining the ops. Niggas sold out on the tribe. Hey. Yo niggas ain't nothing like mine. Yo niggas ain't nothing like my niggas. Yo niggas sold out on the tribe. I put that on tribe. We on some other shit, nigga, no lie. Whatever y'all niggas is on it, we on that shit too. We some Midwest Indians, nigga, we wild.
I love that. Shout out to Chief Khaled. That is
He blazed that track, boy.
Is on.
Randomly on the said, every time I hear it, I say Chief snap. He snapped on that motherfucker. He really did.
It's the truth, man, because our people are being used, and I'm sick of that. I'm sick of our people being used to make a choice. First of all, do your genealogy. That's number one.
I hype me up, I gas me up, I hype me up, I gas me up, I hype me up, I gas me up. Take up spaces, got my room with this. Take up spaces, I got my room with this. I'm a trip for this, they cannot resist. The space is on abyss, take up spaces. I hype me up, I gas me up, I hype me up, I gas me up, I hype me up, I gas me up. Take up spaces, got my room with this. I'm a trip for this, the space is on abyss. Push through, sis. It's a ghetto, not designed for my being. I know when to chill. I'm humble, yeah, I don't shy away from compliments. I receive, I'm worth the fuss. I know this inner work will take me from petty to queen, to goddess, to priestess. Competing and comparison, it's a no for me, dog. My growth is not duplicatable or copy-friendly. I am powerful beyond measure. The version of me others created in their mind is not my responsibility. I normalize saying no when others want too much for me. I uproot any soul ties of attachment that has held me hostage to lower paradigms of thought, feeling, expressing, and womaning. Take up space, sis. Got my room with this. I'm a fool for this. Rest is a revolution and a luxury. I'm learning to step out of survival mode. I wake up to my own BS. Awareness put me on. There ain't nobody to put me on. I am the blueprint. I allow others to tell on themselves. Their true nature will be revealed. That's what I gotta know. I love myself and others out loud. I am proud of what and who I love. I do the most for mine. I use my voice, my heart, my thoughts, my truth to speak up about what I want. I don't use coded language. I'm loud with it. It's noticeable that I'm no longer stuck in chapters with women who don't match my vibe. That's on period. My love language are explored by genuine connections. I'm worthy even when I'm bored, even when I rest, even when I am confused, even when I'm still healing. I feel so right and enough, and that feeling won't stop. Sis, my intuition said what she said. I trust her now. I show up fully being the most. I won't over-explain myself. I am who I am. I bring what I bring. I said what I said. This energy though, I'm so awake to this big energy essence. Nothing will stand in the way of me asking for what I want. This is how my needs are being met. I won't explain why I'm so dressed up. I'm the most always. No matter how it makes others feel or think of me, I'm gonna take up space. Honey, I ain't shrinking a kid. Take a space, sis. I got my room with this. In the boardroom, in the bedroom, in the Zoom, on the IG, in my truth, on the beach, I'ma reach. I hype me up, I gas me up. I hype me up, I gas me up. Take a space, sis. Got my room with this. I'm a trip for this. They cannot resist. The space is on abyss. I'm a trip for this. They cannot resist. Take a space, sis.
That's my favorite song, y'all. I just had to share what I'm listening to with y'all. Got one more song, and then we're going to get into it. Peace, Godfeather.
Halito Godfeather.
We got one more song, y'all, and then we rocking and rolling. One more song,
Alito.
and then we... Fair use.
Can't fuck with me when I'm in my element. Every day, man, I've been hustling. That's some real niggas, where the fuck they been? They just hear you feel me like show you right. Fuck with me when I'm in my element. Every day, man, I've been hustling. Smiling for the times that I've been struggling. They just hear you feel me like show you right. Come in, do you copy? Proper or with e-problem. Any y'all got a problem with me, it's not my problem. This my Jimmy Jam, this that stupid flow. Drippin' super soap, super Cooper, I can sugarcoat, but that be stupid though. Niggas out of pocket, women selling their pussy. Niggas is wiping hoes, I'm sorry, don't introduce me. Keep it pimpin' low, on your tippy toes. You don't hear me though, if you're thirsty, it's that alkaline. But what you sippin' on? Fuck with me when I'm in my element. Every day that I've been hustling.
Thank you,
Some real
Zena.
niggas, where the fuck they been? They just hear you feel me like show you right. Fuck with me when I'm in my element. Every day that I've been hustling. Smiling for the times that I've been struggling. They just hear you feel me like show you right. I got plenty problems, but stopping just ain't an option. Niggas think talking about me can really impede the progress. They can have it though, they can super choke. I've been super broke. Don't need your opinions like you're smart, but you just stupid. I'ma crash with the basic sexy info. Fraudulent niggas just can't keep up with my tempo. Man, I do it like the juice, I keep it simple. I just tell my shit, let me shut down real quick. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in my element. Everything that I've been hustling. Got some real niggas, where the fuck they been? Ladies, when you feel me like show you right. With me when I'm in my element. Everything that I've been hustling. Smiling for the times that I've been struggling. Ladies, when you feel me like show you right. Element. 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 Element.
Why is it doing like that? I mean,
That's whoever did that, made that video, did it like that. You talking about
no,
where
I'm
it's
saying
moving?
no, it sounded like an echo or something. Like it was speeding it up and it just wasn't playing it right.
For real?
Yeah, to me, I mean, I don't know.
So I just want to know if y'all that line resonated with me, and it resonates with me every day. She said, "Niggas think talking about me could really impede my progress. It don't work like that." So I just want motherfuckers to know
Nobody, nothing
it doesn't
should
work like that.
impede your progress. Your progress is your progress alone.
I just gave y'all a little inkling of what I listen to on a daily. That's all. That's all. So, Zoe and Brother Godfeather, that video y'all shared, 40 Acres and a Few Fool, y'all know we wanted to, we definitely want to break that down. And I wanted to go over something that I saw on the video when y'all were on Callie's channel, and we'll get to it. And of course, y'all know we got to talk about a lot of stuff. Of course, we're going to talk about the slap heard around the world and how fake that shit was. If you don't know, that shit was fake. Fake as I don't even know.
You have you ever seen one of them old style kung fu flicks?
Yes. Yes.
Those look more
Yes.
real than that. I mean, like seriously, yo, like they even have a sound effect to it, like or some, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I watched it over and over and over just to see, like, I mean, yeah.
you
I
see
got
somebody
pictures.
slapping somebody that close, their head with a jerk. That's what
Not
it fake.
only that, ain't no real nigga about to let nobody walk up on them. I don't give a fuck who it is and where we
Yeah,
at.
it's
Not
going
about to
down.
let nobody walk up
Yeah,
on you
yeah,
and slap
yeah.
you. I don't
And
Matter
care
I
of
what
fact,
you're
soon as you
doing.
swing, it's going down. Like as the
Yeah,
swing
it's called
coming,
reaction. Like he didn't react at all. That lets me know he knew it was
man.
coming. He
That
knew
so
part.
it was coming.
so so that lets you know that these people are just rushing into distractions to
It's
just
not only is it rushing into distractions, but what they're not telling people, that melanated people has stopped watching the Oscars for years now. They were
Yeah,
down
they need
millions
us
of
bad.
views, and
so
they
that
did that. And now that's all niggas is talking about is,
Yep.
look, we're having a conversation about it now. They know
like
what they're doing.
like Chucks and Pearls.
Exactly. And let me show y'all. Hold up. Let me go here.
Let me bless the stage and the crowd. Let's go.
So how's everybody tonight?
Y'all see this?
I'm fine. I'm doing fine, G.
Can y'all see what's on the screen?
It look like a brace face.
Okay.
That's the brace face.
He knew that shit was coming.
Yeah.
Do y'all see that? Do y'all see that picture where he had that he had something on him to not, to basically not be able to if Will slipped up and slapped him hard enough for, I mean, it wasn't a hard slap at all, but just in case.
And it
Yeah.
probably was something in his mouth that made the slapping sound that he bit down on.
Yeah. I mean, and facts, Maurice Miller, a 6-year boycott in one night went to shits because niggas love drama.
Yep.
Yes, that's what it's about. Drama
Niggas love drama, and y'all
and
already know how many times
distractions.
the matriarchs have told y'all when they tell y'all look right, y'all got to look left, up, down, around, because they're planning something. They have already started rolling the Ukrainians in. If y'all didn't know, they already started bringing them in.
100,000 the other day, and did Joe Biden made an announcement. I don't know if anybody was paying attention, saying that there's going to be a food shortage.
Yeah, they letting all these
I got that
motherfuckers over
video
here.
too. I got that video too. Thomas, my love, you need to go and watch that again. That was staged. The whole world is a stage.
It sure is. It sure is. And I'm convinced that some people on YouTube is staged as well. Like Tariq Nasheed.
I am too.
Right, exactly, Kelly Kibo. That's what I saw. Chris leaned in and had his hands behind his back. Who stands like that when a man is walking at you like that? It was, I mean,
especially with an angry look. You gonna pay attention to how somebody's walking up on you. I mean, it was staged. Somebody say Jada nudged him and told him, "You're gonna let him talk to me like that." All this stuff was staged to get us off of the fact that their lease is up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why they're allowing
about that.
Because they're building allies. And everybody know them motherfuckers over there don't care too much for us over here. It ain't no secret. So now you know why they gentrifying so hard in our communities, because this is where they're taking all these foreign immigrants right in your community.
And if anybody do the real Ukraine, they'll know that most of the Nazi war criminals is definitely from Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the biggest Nazi supporters there ever was.
So now you're gonna be dealing with these motherfuckers.
Hold on, everybody. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about this Ukraine thing. You know, we're gonna talk about where Biden from.
I hear that.
People not know that. Like that's where his bloodline is from, like that part of Russia.
That part.
Yes.
That part. That whole part. And like I said, I brought this up first so we can get past this, because it's really a non-fucking factor to me. But I know you still have people who tethering between real and fake, and a lot of people cannot decipher what is real, what is real and fake, because we've seen so much fake that we can't, a lot of our people cannot decipher between real and fake. That shit was fake as fuck, period.
Yep. That's why ain't nobody see me posted on my damn Facebook. I knew the bullshit was fake when I first seen shit. I said, okay, here we go now for another distraction, because niggas is so easy distracted with bullshit.
And just like Amani Bay said, we don't know what's being trademarked and patented. We keep saying these curses and stuff and bringing up these curses, like saying black. People don't know that's a curse.
Yes. I keep saying this over and over. Chisana, nigga, why get mad if they call you black, African Americans, the same thing as nigga? So don't get mad at nigga. Here they still calling you nigga when they call you those terms. They still is what they calling you, a nigga. So why you mad at that? Oh, they call me a nigga. I'm finna fight. Get the hell out of here.
And why do we have to be the only people that allow people to name us?
Exactly. You ain't naming they goddamn ass, them damn Yetis. Why don't we get together and say they ain't Yeti?
Do y'all want to Zoe, have y'all ever played the whole video? Well, I guess our audience didn't get a chance to see it. So do y'all want to play the whole thing? It's 52 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, you can play where to get to. I mean, you can play the whole thing. I mean, it's solid. You
I'm
know,
down
it's
for playing the
true.
whole thing. I'm just asking my mom and Empress.
Hey, okay.
Oh yeah, I could watch that. I watched it after I saw some of it on
Me too.
Callie's. Yes,
Me
so
too.
yes.
I can't wait to get to the part I want to point out. I want to point something out that I noticed on there that didn't blow my mind, but it was like, okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I start going back and listening to this brother's videos. It's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, you can play the whole video.
You don't know. Don't tell me Negro. That's nothing. What were you before the white man named you a Negro? And where were you? And what did you have? What was yours? What language did you speak then? What was your name? It couldn't have been Smith or Jones or Bunch or Powell. That wasn't your name. They don't have those kind of names where you and I came from. No, what was your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now? Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.
This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land.
Louisiana homeowners, pay close attention. If your home was damaged during Hurricane Ida, you need.
We are a nation within a nation in this country searching for a nationality. And once we find our nationality and serve that nationality, we'll do for ourselves what needs to be done. All ethnic groups in this country understand they got a nationality. Because you answer to such stupid words like Negro and colored and black. You have no nationality. Negro is not a nationality. Some lazy Portuguese or Spaniard took an adjective and made a noun out of it. Colored is not a nationality. Black tells you how you look, but it don't tell you who you are. That's right. The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. And anytime you call a people by their right name, Anytime you call a people, name a people, and fail to relate them back to land, history, and culture, you have called them out of their name. There's no black land or black hole of it. There's nothing wrong with the word black. Nothing wrong with it at all. Only it doesn't relate to a country. The name of every people in the world relate to country. And once you think instantaneously of land, you think of nationality. You belong to something big in the world.
All right, goddammit. Now pay attention, because I'm only doing this one time. Now let's get on with the story. Who are you? Have you ever asked yourself this question? Not just on a spiritual level, but also in society. Another way of saying it would be, what is your class, rank, or status? And what does this class, rank, or status entitle me to within society? What do the words class, rank, or status even mean? We'll start with the most important word of all, status. According to Black's Law Dictionary, the word status is defined as standing, state, or condition. The legal relation of an individual to the rest of the community. The rights, duties, capacities, and incapacities which determine a person to a given class. Class. The order or rank according to which persons or things are arranged or assorted. Rank. Grade of official standing. So as you can see from these legal definitions, your status, class, or rank has to do with your standing or legal standing in society. And as everyone knows, if you're not standing, there's only 3 other positions you could possibly be in: sitting, kneeling, or lying down. The history of status, or what is also known as social hierarchy, goes all the way back to ancient Sumer, the very first civilization on Earth, today what is now called Iraq. The ancient Sumerians created a class system that continues to this very day. Their society was made up of 4 different classes. Nobles, they included the ruling family, warriors, priests, and wealthy landowner families. Commoners, which included small landowners, merchants, fishermen, and craftsmen. Clients, which included senior administrators, scribes, or writers, people who work in the religious temples, and people who were dependent on the nobility. Slaves, they included people taken in battle and people who sold themselves into slavery to pay off a debt. This passed on to the Greeks and Romans, whose class system is the closest to our own. The Roman system of stratification, or social hierarchy, went as follows. You had the citizen, which means inhabitant of a city or town dweller, and was a privileged and political legal status afforded to free peoples with respect to the law and property, and was broken down into many different classes. First, there was the ruling class, or aristocracy, which consisted of the patricians, which comes from the word pater, meaning father. They were believed to be the descendant tribes of the founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. Then there were the plebeians, every other free person in Rome, not a patrician, who eventually rose to power by gaining wealth and political revolution. There were the patrons, who had a certain level of status depending on his ancestry, patrician or plebeian. A patron could have been of the ruling class or just a free citizen who had a certain level of control over what was called his client. The client means to listen, follow, or obey, and they were like an assistant to the patron or his patronus, and was obligated to perform certain duties for his patron, and likewise the patron for his client. The client was either a freed slave or someone who obligated himself to another for higher status and for better lifestyle and minor privileges. You had the proletarians, the uneducated free commoner, whose only value was his labor or his children, which is where the word comes from, producing offspring. This was because if you had nothing tangible of value to give the state, they would mark your children down as future assets to colonize conquered lands. This is where the census and the birth certificate come from. Census means to appraise or assess, and was used to assess the value of the citizen. and placed them into one of the 6 different social classes in order to assign military duties and privileges. This status was based on how much money and property you owned. Anyone worth less than 11,000 bronze pieces were considered proletarian or working class and had to list their labor and children as property assets. Just like today, your children are property and assets of the government. There was the legal personality or legal fiction, also known as collegium or college. College means gathered together and is the precursor of the corporation legal fiction. All legal fiction associations were called colleges in Rome. You had the freedman, also known as, get this, liberty, if he was freed with no obligation to his former owner, or he was called libertus, or client, if he still owed his owner some certain duties or special obligations. Eventually, the two terms became one. These people could not vote, hold public office, or state priesthoods. And last on the totem pole was the slave, of course. The Roman slave differed from the modern perception of a slave. They could be accountants, doctors, or some other highly educated profession. This was called the skilled slave. The unskilled slave would be the equivalent to what we know as the field slave or serf, a slave who works the land, hoping one day to raise their status to freedmen or liberty. This was because in ancient Rome, a slave, skilled or unskilled, was known as servus non habet personam, which means a slave has no persona or personality. He does not own his own body, has no name, owns no goods of his own, and has no ancestors. This person was also known as civiliter mortus, which means civilly dead, with no rights or citizenship. This status also included criminals. This is also why the game of changing or raising your status was all too real in ancient Rome. In ancient Islam, the belief system was twofold. Some believed in a meritocracy and egalitarian society, which means everyone is equal and you raise your status by what you do in society as opposed to what you were born with, while others believed that hierarchy was inherent in nature and therefore inherent in human beings, although they did believe in allowing slaves to raise their status within the Muslim society. However, being that the Muslim or Moorish slave trade lasted for over 1,400 years, it was seen that the whole life should mimic nature philosophy won out in the end. When the Moors, also known as the Muslims, conquered a new territory, the inhabitants of that land would instantly become second-class citizens with minor privileges and allowances until they converted to Islam. Also in Islam, slaves would ultimately ascend to rulership, as in the case of the Mamluk dynasty in India and Mamluk Sultanate in Egypt, which existed from 1250 to 1517 AD. The word Mamluk means pale slave, and they were a major part of the military force used by the Moors, along with the Janissaries, mostly consisting of Christian, also known as white or pale slaves. And yes, so-called white slaves ruled Egypt for 300 years. So this class system, from noble to slave, has existed in various forms throughout history, like the feudal system, with their kings, lords, knights, and peasants, from the beginning to this very day. As well, slavery has evolved from what was mostly involuntary physical slavery to what is now unconscious voluntary or involuntary contract slavery. And this is how they did it. Now, most so-called black people believe that their legal status today comes from the 14th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, created to give them equal rights in society after being freed from slavery in 1865. The events that sparked the drafting of the 14th Amendment were many, but before we dissect that bullshit document, let's examine the main incident that sparked the whole thing, the Dred Scott case and decision. By the time of the Dred Scott decision in 1857, slavery had been a legal practice in the United States since 1641, but practiced in other forms such as indentured servitude and debt servitude, or punishment after being captured in war, like the melanated copper-colored Aboriginal American nations who fought each other and enslaved their captives after war, and in some under-the-law forms such as kidnapping, then being forced to work or risk getting the WWE SmackDown put on you. In fact, technically, the first slaves in America under the British colonies were kidnapped poor Caucasian people and so-called criminals from Ireland and England, stolen off the streets shipped to America, then forced to sign indentured contracts and work the plantations, usually until they died under forced contract slavery. According to the book, White Slavery in Colonial America, it states, at the bare minimum, hundreds of thousands of white slaves were kidnapped off the streets and roads of Great Britain in the course of more than 150 years and sold to captains of slave ships in London known as white Guineamen. In the book History of the United States, Volume 2, it states, 10,000 slaves were kidnapped from England in the year 1670 alone. The very word kidnapper was first coined in Britain in the 1600s to describe those who captured and sold white children into slavery, hence the term kidnappers or kidnappers. And there are many other books that tell this story, such as They Were White and They Were Slaves and White Cargo. Now, with slavery being an economic staple in the world, as well as in America, long before the arrival of the pale colonizer, status was the determining factor for who was master and slave, and everything in between. Were you born free? Were you born a slave? Were you born a serf, which is a slave attached to the land and not the owner? Were you born a chattel slave, which is someone who was property of their owner and had to move wherever their owner moved? Were you born a slave, then able to work off your freedom? Or were you born free, then eventually became a slave for the betterment of your family and lifestyle? These were all different levels of legal status. And depending on what you called yourself, the law had special rules for each one, including African slaves and descendants of African slaves born in America. Not to mention free whites, free non-whites, and later on American Indians, who were first among the free non-whites. The first legal slave in America was a man named John Punch, who was Barack Obama's ancestor on his Caucasian side, sentenced to lifetime slavery as a punishment for breaking his indentured servitude contract for running away in 1640. However, slavery didn't become legal until 1655, when a freed slave named Anthony Johnson sued for the lifetime servitude of one of his indentured servants in a court of law. He did this after the man served out the terms of his indentured contract. Anthony Johnson still sued for the right to have him as a slave for life. Also, of the 5 indentured servants or slaves he had on his property, 4 of them were Caucasian. 2 of the largest slave owners in history were so-called black men. April William Ellison, who owned 63 slaves, and John Carruthers Stanley, who owned 163 slaves. In fact, the reality is, close to 30% of free so-called black people own slaves, while only 2% of free Caucasians own slaves. This brings us back to Dred Scott, a man born into slavery in Virginia around 1799, who sued for his freedom in 1846, won his freedom for 2 years, then had the case overturned and eventually sent to the Supreme Court. It is the decision and misunderstanding of the opinion read by Judge Taney in that case, which eventually led to a civil war. In a brief summary of the case, Dred Scott, a slave, tried to sue for his freedom upon traveling with his owner to a state that had previously outlawed slavery. As stated, he won his case and freedom for 2 years, until his former owner, Sanford, countersued on the grounds that Dred Scott didn't have the right to bring up a lawsuit in a court of the United States because slaves were not considered citizens of the United States. The Supreme Court agreed with Sanford's assessment that Dred Scott was not a citizen of the United States and ruled the lower court's decision in error. In Judge Taney's explanation of the ruling, he says words that, without an understanding of the law, may seem cruel and thoughtless. However, a brief examination of who Judge Taney was in his personal and early professional life will show that he was very sympathetic towards the slavery cause. In fact, he defended an abolitionist reverend who was charged with inciting a slave rebellion. He said that slavery was a blot on our national character, and any true lover of freedom hopes that it will eventually be wiped away. He also freed the slaves owned by his wealthy tobacco family after his father died and gave them paying jobs while giving pensions to the ones who could not work. Now, why would a man who has said and done those things seem to completely flip in the Dred Scott decision when he says, in the opinion of the court, the legislation and histories of the times and language used in the Declaration of Independence show that neither the class of persons who had been imported as slaves nor their descendants, whether they had become free or not, were then acknowledged as a part of the people, nor intended to be included in the general words used in that memorable instrument. They had for more than a century been regarded as beings of an inferior order and altogether unfit to associate with the white race, either in social or political relations, and so far inferior that they had no rights which the white man was bound to respect, and that the Negro might justly and lawfully be reduced to slavery for his benefit. Now, these may seem to be two completely opposite ideas and perspectives when looking at them with an untrained eye. However, for those who understand the law and legalese, he was saying something completely different and was actually trying to help Dred Scott win his case, but in a completely different way. As you read this case, you will see the words class, status, Negro, Africans, imported into this country, pure African blood, of African descent, and slaves imported into this country. In the Judge Taney quote previously, it said that neither the class of persons who had been imported as slaves nor their descendants, whether they had become free or not, were then acknowledged as part of the people. This is very specific legal wording. You must go get you a Black's Law dictionary, preferably the 4th edition, to start to decode the law and see it as it is entangled. In the part of the case where Judge Taney actually tries to help him, it states, the question is simply this: can a Negro whose ancestors were imported into this country and sold as slaves become a member of the political community formed and brought into existence by the Constitution of the United States, and as such become entitled to all of the rights and privileges and immunities guaranteed by that instrument to the citizen, one of which rights is the privilege of suing in a court of the United States in the cases specified in the Constitution. It will be observed that the plea applies to that class of persons only whose ancestors were Negroes of the African race and imported into this country and sold and held as slaves. The only matter in issue before the court, therefore, is whether the descendants of such slaves, when they shall be emancipated, or who are born of parents who had become free before their birth, are citizens of a state in the sense in which the word citizen is used in the Constitution of the United States. And this being the only matter in dispute on the pleadings, the court must be understood as speaking to this opinion of that class of persons only. That is, of those persons who are the descendants of Africans who were imported into this country and sold as slaves. And here's where he gives him his way out. The situation of this population was altogether unlike that of the Indian race. The latter, it is true, formed no part of the colonial communities and never amalgamated with them in social connections or in government. But although they were uncivilized, they were yet a free and independent people, associated together in nations or tribes and governed by their own laws. Many of these political communities were situated in territories to which the white race claimed the ultimate right of dominion, but that claim was acknowledged to be subject to the right of the Indians to occupy it as long as they thought proper, and neither the English nor colonial governments claimed or exercised any dominion over the tribe or nation by whom it was occupied, nor claimed the right to possession of the territory until the tribe or nation consented or ceded it. These Indian governments were regarded and treated as foreign governments, as much so as if an ocean had separated the red man from the white, and their freedom has constantly been acknowledged from the time of the first immigration to the English colonies to the present day by the different governments which succeeded each other. Treaties have been negotiated with them, and their alliance sought for in war. And the people who compose these Indian political communities have always been treated as foreigners not living under our government. Now, why would he go that in depth into the status of the American Indian as opposed to the status of Africans imported into this country and sold as slaves or Negroes descended from the African race? It was because he was trying to show him the status he should have walked into the court under instead of the dead statuses of African, Negro slave, and African slave descended from Africans of pure African blood. The American Indians are indigenous to this continent and have all the sovereign rights of any country in the world. Judge Taney understood this, as well as the fact that most so-called black people who called themselves Africans or descendants of Africans were actually indigenous Americans. And if you change your status when you walk into this court the next time, there will be a completely different remedy for you, as in the case of the American Indian, who are sovereign with their own government and laws. The legal definition of Negro is a black man, one descended from the African race, and does not commonly include a mulatto. The term Negro also means necessarily a person of color, but not every person of color is a Negro. So as you can see from these legal definitions, Negro means a black man descended from the African race, but there is no definition for the term black man. However, black is a color, and the legal definition of color is an appearance as distinguished from that which is real, an apparent right or deceptive appearance. The word also means the dark color of the skin showing the presence of Negro blood, and hence is equivalent to African descent or parentage. Now, as you can see from these legal definitions, by calling yourself colored, as in the case of the NAACP, black or African American, you are saying to the law that you are not real and are deceptive in your appearance. The most determining factor of your status is self-identification, meaning you have to tell the government and whoever else is listening who you are, or you leave it up to them to place you into whatever box or category, class, or status they want. The outrage and misunderstanding of the Dred Scott decision sparked a civil war that killed over 600,000 people and eventually led to the 14th Amendment. This brings us back to the 14th Amendment and the status of so-called black people today. The 14th Amendment was created to give the newly freed slaves a somewhat equal footing with the established white citizens of the United States because they were discriminated against in society even though they had become free. And as stated, most so-called black people think they get their citizenship from the 14th Amendment, where it states, and I quote, "All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." Now, reading that on its face, it seems pretty straightforward that the United States is granting anyone under its jurisdiction citizenship and equal protection of the laws across the entire United States. However, as I told you before, law documents are written in legalese, and lawyers use what is called in law words of art. Legal definitions don't have the same meaning as regular definitions, but you must pick up a Black's Law Dictionary, preferably the 4th edition, to truly understand. So with that understanding, if you take a closer look at the 14th Amendment paragraph, which most so-called black people think grants them equal rights, privileges, and immunities, you will notice there is one important word missing from the paragraph: rights. Again, these were highly skilled lawyers or men using words of art and didn't use words arbitrarily or ambiguously, meaning they didn't use words randomly or just because. They know the difference between the words rights and privileges. Most people mistake the word rights for freedoms, which is the uninhibited power to direct one's own will as they see fit. However, the word right comes from the German word recht, and it means straight line or erect or to direct. So rights are basically how your freedoms are organized so that no one person's freedoms infringes upon another's or inhibits another's. The word privilege means individual or private law, or law pertaining to one. Most people think the word is equivalent to rights, and as you can see from these definitions, it is not. The 14th Amendment does not grant anyone rights, only privileges and immunities for becoming a subject citizen of the corporation known as the United States of America, Inc. It's in the writing of the first paragraph, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. The legal definition of the term subject to is liable, subordinate, subservient, inferior, obedient to, and answerable for. Unlike the first part of the Constitution, where the government is supposed to be subject to the will of the people. The 14th Amendment was not created to give equal rights to the freed slaves. It was created to make the freed slaves property and assets of the corporation known as the United States of America, Inc. This would put the United States Corporation on equal footing and ground with the states that created it, giving it its own citizens to govern or rule over. They wanted this so badly that they illegally pushed the amendment through the House and Senate by forcing 10 of the southern states to ratify it through military occupation, needing a 2/3 majority vote. At the same time, some of the states who disagreed with the military occupation of the southern states withdrew their ratifications of the amendment. However, they were counted anyway without their consent, thereby passing the 14th Amendment under threat, duress, coercion, and fraud, which makes any legal document or contract entered into not legally binding. So this is the status of the 14th Amendment citizen, a sort of subject slave caught in limbo with no actual real definable status in law, someone who has given up their rights for privileges and immunities.
The only way the federal government can have any jurisdiction beyond these constitutional clauses is by written permission or contract. Which leads us to another piece of the puzzle, the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, ratified in 1868 following the Civil War. As barbaric as it may sound today, the black slaves, prior to the conclusion of the Civil War, were legally considered to be property, with none of the rights or privileges of free-born people, only duties. The money interests took advantage of America's desire to free the slaves, and found a way to use the swiftly adopted post-war constitutional amendments to enslave all of the people. The deceit is in the wording of both the 13th and 14th Amendments. You will note that the 13th Amendment provides that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States. But why the emphasis on involuntary servitude? Isn't it the same thing as slavery? Sure it is. But they had to mention the concept of involuntary servitude because they wished to retain another type of slavery, voluntary servitude. Voluntary servitude is an ancient and established concept. It was the way serfs became subjects to their lords during feudal times in England and other European countries. It was a way for free men to earn a living at a time when all property was held by a select few, and thus anyone who wanted to farm and support their family had first to agree to be subject to a lord of the land. Our forefathers hated this concept and designed our Constitution to exclude titles of nobility, making all Americans sovereign. The 14th Amendment turned the intention of the founders on its ear by making voluntary servitude a requirement for former slaves to gain the rights already guaranteed to free-born United States citizens. When the slaves were released from their involuntary servitude following the war, their status was changed from that of being property to that of being a person. But being a person still entitled them to none of the rights associated with citizenship. So the 14th Amendment ostensibly was written to provide the former slaves with the same constitutional rights of freeborn American citizens, but only if they agreed first to become subject to the jurisdiction of the corporate United States. Making oneself paramountly, that is, first subject to the jurisdiction of the laws of the United States, however, limits access to parts of the Bill of Rights, as we'll explain in a moment. But first remember, anyone who voluntarily subjects himself to the laws or jurisdiction of another is, in every way, obligated to abide by the terms of any contracts or laws established by whomever establishes the rules of the contract. In simple terms, this meant that the former slaves became subjects first to the United States, and secondly to the state in which they lived. They had no sovereignty whatsoever. This status had never existed in the United States prior to that time. The 14th Amendment created a new class of citizenship in the United States, a second-class citizenship. Up until 1868, every American was a paramount citizen of their state, and by virtue of that, also a citizen of the United States, with full individual sovereignty as guaranteed by Amendments 9 and 10 in the Bill of Rights. But so-called naturalized citizens, or 14th Amendment citizens, are paramountly subject to all laws of the United States, and, having no status as freeborn citizens, have no access at all to the unenumerated rights retained for the people by Articles 9 and 10 of the Bill of Rights. That's because, in order to get any rights at all, they had to subject themselves to the jurisdiction of the corporate United States, which left them no unenumerated rights. The only rights they had were those specifically written into the Constitution.
Black is not a nationality. African American is not a nationality. Definitely not one recognizable by the law, which is what you will need when challenging the U.S. corporate government for your rightful inheritance, not reparations. The modern idea of reparations for so-called blacks in America comes from Special Field Order 15 of General Sherman at the end of the Civil War, promising 40 acres and a mule to the freed slaves of the South. They will be able to work the land until they were able to buy it outright. This became an actual reality up until the assassination of President Lincoln, when his successor, President Andrew Johnson, reversed the order of William Sherman and gave all the land back to its previous Caucasian owners, which gave only two options to the freedmen who occupied the land: either leave or stay and work the land for a share of the profits, hence sharecroppers. It is this military order given under martial law that most African Americans hang their hat on in their argument for reparations. What most people don't know is that orders given under military rule are only temporary until a new viable government is established. So this was not a law, only a gesture made by the ruling military elite at the time. And being that you signed over your rights to the United States corporate government in return for protection and privileges, you waived your right to any compensation under that status. Today, the term white, according to the US Census, includes people from the Middle East and North Africa, or what they call the MENA groups, which means anybody from Tunisia, Libya, Algeria, Egypt, and Morocco are all classified as white. Now, as we know, most people from these regions have skin tones from lightly melanated to heavily melanated, which just goes to show you that the status of white has nothing to do with your skin tone. It's a status of privilege afforded to those who they think will be productive members of society, thereby increasing the perception and productivity of this constructed racial demographic.
I am a black Egyptian. My father is much darker than I am. My mother is lighter than I am. In Egypt, people are identified by the religion first, not the race. So in Egypt, if you are Christian, you are a minority person. But if you're black, you're not a minority person. You are a part of the mainstream society. And I came from this background. And in Egypt, you identify as Arab and as Muslim. And in this country, when I first came, I identified myself as Arab American and Muslim first. And gradually, I became to identify myself as black. I came to the US in 1978, and I became US citizen in 1985. When I became a US resident, I was told by the Immigration and Naturalization that I am white. And I told them that I'm black, and they said, no, in this country, you are white. All Arabs in this country, all Arab immigrants are white. I didn't pay much attention in the beginning to this, because in the Arab world, we identify with our ethnicity first as Arabs, and then with the race second as black or white or whatever. But in this country, you identify with your racial group first and then with your ethnicity second. Gradually, I became black first and Arab second. And I rejected my white classification publicly for the first time in 1987, in February, as a panelist in a function sponsored by the Association of the Study of Black Life and History in Detroit. I said that I belong to two minority groups. I'm Arab American and Black American, and I'm racially Black and ethnically Egyptian. I was harassed by my employer right after that. I work for a white school district. The superintendent is white. All the associate superintendents are white, even though that we provide services to 30% Black population. But the organization is white and the approach is very white. The attitude towards me changed completely after I went out publicly and rejected my white classification. One coworker came to me and told me, a white coworker came to me and told me right after the function that he met with the superintendent, and if I don't keep my mouth shut, my educational career is over. He said, you have nothing to do with these people. You have a history and a culture. These people came from the jungle. You have nothing to do with them. These people lie and steal. When I see one of them in my neighborhood, I call the police. And I was told by the director of general education, who is retired now, in '88, I was told by him that I get people angry when I say that I'm Black Egyptian. If I just say that I'm Egyptian, I would get along. I have to add that I was denied promotion twice because I chose Black classification. This is part of my 2 lawsuits against my employer, which are currently pending, 2 lawsuits.
So then what status should you be going under? For 80% of you so-called Blacks in North America, and all of the Americas for that matter, that answer would be American Indian or Aboriginal American. The legal definition of Indian is the Aboriginal inhabitants of North America. And Aboriginal means father original. The original definition for American in the 1800s was the copper-colored people of the Americas. And the truth is, most of you were already here when the colonizer landed on this continent. Actual records show that only 3 to 4%, or only 350,000 to 500,000 African slaves entered North America, with 2/3 of those being men and children. But at the end of slavery in the late 1800s, records also show there were close to 4 million slaves in North America. So where then did all the other slaves come from? You were already here. When the US Census began in 1790, you were listed as free non-whites. Unfortunately, over the years, through decades of census taking, you were purposefully reclassified as Blacks, Negroes, and mulattoes in order to strip you from your birthright to the land. A good movie that shows this is The Gangs of New York with Leonardo DiCaprio. In the Dred Scott case, which has never been overturned by the Supreme Court, Judge Taney stated and asserted all of the freedoms, rights, and characteristics due to sovereign Indian nations with respect to this continent and the US government. And being that this case has never been overturned, it is still what is called positive law and able to be used as a remedy in court. As well, the 14th Amendment, which gives so-called Black people their beloved US citizenship, was never actually legally ratified. The unlawfully and illegally ratified 14th Amendment was spoken of in the Utah Supreme Court case of Kip Phillips versus the state of Utah, where in the dissenting opinion, Judge Ellett states, and I quote, "The 14th Amendment is a part of the Constitution of the United States. While the same assertion has been made by the United States Supreme Court, that court has never held that the amendment was legally adopted. I cannot believe that any court in full possession of its faculties could hold that that amendment was properly approved and adopted." As well, the US government has already admitted their responsibility as trustees of the original Indian nations and to assist them in any way possible when they ask in their proper status. This was done when America adopted the United Nations Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, as well as House Congressional Resolution 331, which states, and I quote, "In the Senate of the United States, concurrent resolution to acknowledge the contribution of the Iroquois Confederacy of Nations to the development of the United States Constitution, and to reaffirm the continuing government to government relationship between Indian tribes and the United States established in the Constitution. Whereas the original framers of the Constitution, including most notably George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, are known to have greatly admired the concepts of the Six Nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, whereas the Confederation of the original 13 colonies into one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederacy, as were many of the democratic principles which were incorporated into the Constitution itself. And whereas since the formation of the United States, the Congress has recognized the sovereign status of Indian tribes and has, through the exercise of powers reserved to the federal government in the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, dealt with Indian tribes on a government to government basis and has, through the Treaty Clause of the Constitution, entered into 370 treaties with the Indian tribal nations. Whereas, from the first treaty entered into with an Indian nation, the treaty with the Delaware Indians of September 17, 1778, the Congress has assumed a trust responsibility and obligation to Indian tribes and their members. Whereas this trust responsibility calls for Congress to exercise the utmost good faith in dealings with Indians, as provided for in the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, 1 Statute number 50. Whereas the judicial system of the United States has consistently recognized and reaffirmed this special relationship. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the House of Representatives, the Senate concurring, that 1. The Congress, on the occasion of the 200th anniversary of the signing of the United States Constitution, acknowledges the contribution made by the Iroquois Confederacy and other Indian nations to the formation and development of the United States. 2. The Congress also reaffirms the constitutionally recognized government to government relationship with Indian tribes, which has been the cornerstone of this nation's official Indian policy. 3. The Congress specifically acknowledges and reaffirms the trust responsibility and obligation of the United States government to Indian tribes, including Alaska Natives, for their preservation, protection, and enhancement, including the provision of health, education, social, and economic assistance programs as necessary, and including the duty to assist tribes in their performance of government responsibility to provide for the social and economic well-being of their members, and to preserve tribal cultural identity and heritage. And 4, the Congress also acknowledges the need to exercise the utmost good faith in upholding its treaties with the various tribes, as the tribes understood them to be. Also, the duty of a great nation to uphold its legal and moral obligations for the benefit of all of its citizens, so that they and their posterity may also continue to enjoy the rights they have enshrined in the United States Constitution from time immemorial. The American Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Article 1. The American Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples applies to the indigenous peoples of the Americas. 2. Self-identification as indigenous peoples will be a fundamental criteria for determining to whom this declaration applies. The states will respect the right to such self-identification as indigenous individually or collectively, in keeping with the practices and institutions of each indigenous peoples. Article 2. The states recognize and respect the multicultural and multilingual character of the indigenous peoples who are an integral part of their societies. Article 3. Indigenous peoples have the right to self determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic and social and cultural development. Article 5. Indigenous peoples and persons have the right to the full enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms as recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Charter of Organizations of the American States, and international human rights law. Article 6. Indigenous peoples have collective rights that are indispensable for their existence, well being, and integral development as peoples. In this regard, the states recognize and respect the right of the indigenous peoples to their collective action, to their juridical, social, political, and economic systems or institutions, to their own cultures, to profess and practice their spiritual beliefs, to use their own tongues and languages, and to their lands, territories, and resources. States shall promote, with the full and effective participation of the indigenous peoples, the harmonious coexistence of rights and systems of the different population groups and cultures. Now, as you can see from these official congressional documents, that the U.S. government admits its responsibility as trustees of the land and not owners to aid and assist the Aboriginal Indian nations in their self determination, which means you doing what the hell you want to do for yourself and your people. Also, the other major thing that stands out is self identification, individually and as a people. This means you have to tell me who you are. I can't tell you. If you leave it up to me, I'm going to place you wherever I want you to go. And that's in the black box, the African American box, the Negro box, the minority box, the Native American box, Jack in the box, the human beat box, or whatever other box that keeps you out of my way and out of sight. So all of you so-called black people need to stop looking for bullshit reparations and start to repair your nations. Also, as you can see, mostly everything that you do or receive in this society is based on your status. Your status tells the government how to deal with you. This is something that has gone on since the beginning of civilization and will continue till its end. There have always been hierarchies in nature. Therefore, there has and always will be hierarchies in human nature, natural followers and natural leaders, and everyone else in between. Which one are you? And what is your status?
I have something to say. Like right when Malcolm X was saying, you wasn't named Smith or Jones. That's the thing. They took our names. So I think our leaders was trying to tell us, but they didn't really know that the Europeans came and ciphered our name.
The Europeans didn't even have last names.
That
Right.
part.
That's right. So they came and took our names. That's and nobody can tell you who you are. That's why I'm saying people go around saying this is not this, they're not this. You can't tell a person who they are.
That part.
You cannot tell a person who they are. I cannot tell you who you are until you do your genealogy, do your blood test or whatever. But I can't tell you who you are.
See, this whole video was the shit. That's what I call teaching right there. Telling the people, giving them tools that will help you. I
Yeah,
just I can help you because at this point in time, if you ain't helped yourself, can't nobody help you. I can give you the tools to help you along the way. And genealogy is the main tool you need at this point to let
that's
these
right.
people know who the hell you are and they're standing on your land. You're not standing on theirs.
And we ask that y'all share that video because we need as many people to see that. I also watch Mark Sean Christopher, and he was like, look, it's 400 people. You can start your own government. People can start their own government. I don't know
Yes.
why people think they cannot resurrect the nation, find out where you from. They have all the names. Most of the names were given to us in clues, like the names of rivers.
Yep. A lot of these rivers were renamed.
All
They
the
know.
names of counties. All this was
Yep.
indigenous names,
Hey,
Aboriginal
y'all,
names.
hey, y'all ever notice whenever you pass, like, if you in, if you in a big city and you pass over a canal, like an old canal, which used to be a river, you ever
Mm-hmm.
notice that they still got the street sign right there or the river sign right there, and it'll say the name.
I'll
Yep.
give you a big example. Chapatulas. That means
That one
people of
too.
the river.
Mm-hmm.
That means people of
Hey
the river
y'all,
is.
I was telling them
can y'all
when
hear
I
me?
yeah, we can hear you. I
Just a
was
minute. I mean,
Can
you
y'all
were
hear
in
me?
and out.
Okay.
yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, well, they completely kicked me out and I was completely kicked out and completely kicked off the internet.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like
Oh,
really. They've been really cutting up, girl.
You know, this is what you call considered the
this is
truth.
the
You know,
funny
when
thing
you're
to me
paying
though.
interruptions, y'all can run all day long. But when you giving
The
folks like
funny thing to me is, y'all, me and my mama in the same house, same
yeah,
internet, like, but
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
We giving people tools.
Anyway,
We giving people tools to work with. All the other shit, they'll let you go on all day long because you're not giving them that. You really misleading them, so they can care less how long you go all day long. But if you're gonna give people tools to fight back, to go against what's been taught out here in these schools and in this system, they don't want you to tell it.
They gotta stop
The
you.
distraction
They gotta stop you.
frequencies are real, y'all.
Yep,
Hmm.
hmm,
that was a
is it?
fire video though.
What? And you know what I by me getting kicked out, I lost where I had to refresh everything. I lost where I paused it. I'm gonna have to go back because, and I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna put the link in the chat so y'all can go watch this video on your all time your own time, and you'll see where the United States Corporation is registered as a religious organization. I don't know if y'all caught that.
Mhm.
When they registered the corporation, they registered it as a religious organization.
And I'm sure
Why
the
would they?
Quakers registered theirs too as that. I'm sure
All of
they
that
did.
came in Concord.
You say
And
why? You say why would they do that? You wanted to know why they
I'm
would
not
do that?
asking. I know the answer. It was like a rhetorical question. Yeah, but if you want to answer
Okay.
that question for the audience, you
the chat,
definitely can.
yeah,
I know
go
why they
on.
did it.
I mean, it should be common sense, for everybody who's doing their own research that these people came in the Inquisition, the inquiring of information through the church.
Mm-hmm.
So it will make
Yes.
more sense for them to
Yes.
set up this whole corporation up under the church. Why you think they got so many churches out here?
That's
Yep.
right. For indoctrination. They're indoctrination stations.
It's all going back to the Roman Catholics.
Thanks.
That's right.
It's all the same. I don't care whether you Christian, Muslim, all these
Hmm.
religions all ties back to
To
the
the Jesuit order. To the
yes,
Jesuit order.
all of it. It's no difference.
Hmm.
And it's
Nope.
Go ahead. This is crazy. But that was very informational. Y'all Bricks put in the chat that this video could be to our liberation, but we have to be able to get it out to more people, and more people have to listen and understand what it's saying. Just like that man said over there, he wanted to be called black, but then what he said, the people said we were from the jungle and that we steal everything, and y'all, this is coming from a bunch of fuckers that they stole a whole landmass.
Belligerent occupiers.
Yes.
And the thing about it, they're describing themselves basically.
Some damn pirates gonna tell you that you're thieves. Now they operating on your land, taking all your minerals and everything that's over here, but you the thief. Yeah, it's time for us to start. It's time to stand up.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And you would have never known that they really teach these people. We knew that they taught those people that when they come here not to deal with us because the lies that they're teaching them, because they go through courses before they get out here and amongst us. So they go through courses. This is the stuff that they really teach these people, that we're these bad people, we killing people, all that shit. Can't nobody be more big of a murderers than they are.
Hey, check it. This and this is the craziest thing.
Killer than they are.
It's the biggest. This is the craziest thing. They let these people in. They let these people in. They come out here. They give them these little, these little like it's like a weekend pass, right? But they here for like 2 months. You know what I'm saying? They find out where they want to live at. They get them a little spot. You know what I'm saying? They get with their family or whatever. They either open a business. Or, you know what I'm saying? They do them Hispanics, the way they do them Hispanics, they let them come in across the border, but they make them do like construction jobs. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, all of them gotta go they all gotta go to wherever they live in it, they gotta go downtown and they gotta go take a test. When they go take their test,
but guess what,
they be having,
Guess what, but don't none of them gotta have a driver's license, y'all. I had went to court.
They ain't gotta have none of that.
I was sitting up in there, y'all. I swear, y'all, it was probably about 10 of us that was American. There was, well, I'm American, but the rest of them, the Caucasian, was in there. Now, the rest of them that was in there, they had a speeding ticket. But the rest of them was in there. Y'all didn't feel like they can do whatever I know about 60 of them in there, y'all. But it was about 56 of them, and every time he called one of them up there, y'all, he asked them, could they get their license? And they said no. He said, are you prepared to pay the fine? Or what are you prepared to do? And they said, yeah. Pay the fine. I said, well, ain't this some shit? Every last one of them, besides 2 of them, y'all, said that. I said, now, so they riding around here with no license. And when they hit your car, that's why you can't get paid. Because the court system know they here without license. And they know they can't get licensed. Because you should ask yourself, how are they able to work? How are you doing background?
You know why? Because they have a nationality.
True.
They come over here with a nationality.
Yep. It's so true. That's why I keep
they
telling
have diplomatic immunity.
Yes,
they have
these people
diplomatic immunity.
Facts. Not you. You don't people on your own land that don't want to be who you are. And I feel like that should be one of our main lawsuits against them, is because they educated and told people that they were something else besides. Instead of giving us the truth in school, they miseducated our people. So that should be right there. That right there is genocide. It's nothing but genocide. It's a genocide of people. That is the first lawsuit should be of genocide.
And from them poisoning the land.
Yes.
And causing chaos.
Air, water. This is crazy, man. People been through a whole lot.
It's just so funny that they just like pumping that Will Smith thing, and Here, this man just announced. You see? It's crazy.
But you letting all these foreigners in. But that's gonna be a food shortage.
That's the thing that Empress. When I'm telling you, when I saw this in the same sentence, while he's saying 100,000, 100,000 Ukrainians are coming over here, and they approve $1 billion for them.
But there's a food
shortage. Yeah, I'm gonna play this the video. Okay. This shit is crazy.
Of wheat in the world, as well as Canada. With regard to food shortage, yes, we did so talk about food shortages, and it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia; it's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well. And because both Russia and Ukraine have been the breadbasket of Europe in terms of wheat, for example, just to give one example. But we had a long discussion in the G7 with with both the United States, which has a significant, the third largest producer of wheat in the world, as well as Canada, which is also a major producer. And we both talked about how we could increase and disseminate more rapidly food shortages. In addition to that, we talked about urging all the European countries and everyone else to end trade restrictions on sending limitations on sending food abroad. And so we are in the process of working out with our European friends what it would take to help alleviate the concerns relative to food shortages. We also talked about a significant major U.S. investment, among others, in terms of providing for the need for humanitarian assistance, including food, as we move forward. With regard to food,
I think that is hilarious.
You know what's gonna be the new gold? Seeds, because these people are trying to stop how.
We can't hear you, mommy. You muted yourself.
No, I was saying the new gold is going to be having your own seeds, because these people are going to shut it down to starve the people out. So now it's time for truckers, people who grow food. They have so many farmers that's on the Facebook club, Black Farmers or whatever. You can get in touch with them. But we should never have to run out of food or never be dependent on these people ever.
The only reason people gonna run out of food is because they are dependent on them. That's what they plan is.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't allow that. We should empower ourselves.
If you notice how they've been saying for years, I don't know about everywhere else, but I know in Louisiana, it was a major thing about, oh, don't grow food in the ground because the soil is this and the soil not safe and this not safe. So don't grow food in the ground. They've been pushing that for years now, where people are really perpetuating that. They don't want to grow in the ground because the soil is this and the soil is that. But when you get the soil tested, it's the best soil around. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Yeah, now maybe since they've been through the chemtrails putting the graphene oxide in the air, maybe now, but I mean, you still can do things to.
They not understanding,
right?
That still wouldn't do nothing though, because y'all know those little things we call, I don't know what they call everywhere else. I know here they're called Junie bugs or roly polies. Do y'all know those bugs? Put some trains in the chat if y'all know the bugs I'm talking about. People don't even know what those bugs what they do. Like, a lot of people don't know what they do.
Yes.
Say that again.
They
clean the
soil of heavy metals, of anything that is not supposed to be there. Not only do they clean the soil, but what our people did, they would take, back in the days, if you got fever, they would take those little roly polies and put them in a bag and tie them around your neck, because what they would do is they would drain the fever. They would draw the fever out the body.
Yep.
So those little things are all around. When you dig up, you're going to find them in the dirt. They're constantly cleaning the dirt. So it's BS what they're trying to feed us.
Because they don't want you
That's
to
why they want.
That's why. And then,
right.
Thing is, why would you want your enemy to feed you any damn way? So our food is not recommended nowhere else. I mean, no other country takes our food, y'all.
So that's not food. That's not food.
It's not food. It's processed shit. So no other place wants this shit. It's banned.
Man, look. I know y'all remember us telling y'all to get y'all money out in people banks, right? Check this out. There we go.
Are joining forces to monitor the carbon effect of your credit card purchases. And then you'll hit your carbon max and it'll stop working. Hey, of course it's voluntary for now. The new credit card is called Deconstructing. And on the back of the card it's going to say, I am taking responsibility for every transaction I make to help protect the planet. This is a social credit score. And it's a proof of concept. The Economy CO2 credit card website claims it is the largest initiative ever taken by a bank in educating its users on the impact of consumption. They say themselves they want to set a global standard for carbon calculations. That's the key. Once they have their numbers in place, then they can give every single purchase you make a score and punish you directly. This is what China does. And of course, this will only be enforced on you and me, along with their scheme. And banks are going to enforce it. MasterCard and the United Nations are joining forces to monitor the carbon effect of your. You'll hit your carbon max and it'll stop working. The economy. Back of the card, it's going to say responsibility for every transaction I make to help. This is a social credit score, and it's a proof of concept. The economy CO2 credit website claims it is the largest initiative ever a bank in educating its users on the impact of consumption. They say themselves they want to set a global standard for carbon calculations. That's the key. Once they have their numbers in place, then they can give every single purchase you make a score and punish you directly. This is what China does. And of course, this will only be enforced on you and me and any businesses that don't go along with their scheme. And banks are going to enforce it.
Is it still echo? And put a 1 in the chat. They messing with the internet.
Yeah, it's really been tripping with the chat. Yes, it's I really can see it now. They shadow banning the shit out this channel.
Yep. Well, you know they already.
I put the link in the chat so y'all can go watch it again. But basically, it's just what we've been telling y'all. It's coming to fruition. So, I hope y'all appreciate our fear mongering.
You know, we was telling y'all about how because this is new world order's already in place. There's gonna be places like now in Alabama, it's a gas station. Nobody's working in there. Everything is computerized, even included inside the store. There's no tech in there, no cashier or nothing. You don't even deal with nobody. You go in there, stuff is all in machines. If you want something inside the machine, you have to use your card to get it. This is already in Alabama. You know, that's our fear mongering. You know, we just want to let y'all know that. We told y'all it was coming. Okay, I got Zoe. We brought Zoe and Joseph up here. They're part of the Four Feathers. and they're gonna come and give us some of their knowledge and enlightenment. Zoe and Joseph. Joseph Scott.
Yeah,
Before they go,
I don't know
Empress, I
what
just cannot go over this little picture right quick before they go, and I just want to go over this picture just so people can understand, get a little understanding of what we're saying. Okay, y'all see the three people on the screen, right? And this is not for people who in the chat who know who they are. This is for the people who don't get the concept of why we're saying who we are. Okay. It's a Chinese, a Japanese, and a Korean. Three nationalities that look similar but are not the same people, just like Africans and Aborigine Americans. It's that simple. You call a Chinese a Japanese or a Japanese a Korean, they're going to correct you and tell you, oh, no. I'm Japanese or I'm Korean or I'm Chinese. So just take that concept and put it to us. And no, when we say we're not African, we mean we're not fucking African. Period.
Point blank, period. And that's the same as these Ukrainians. They're coming over here. You have the the Frenchmen. You got the Englishmen. You got all them people that look alike. Got the straight hair and blue eyes, blonde hair. Some were brunette, but they're different people. That goes the same with the different melanated people on the earth. Every landmass had its own set of melanated. What we were the
originals, yes,
original people that belonged there. Whether it was doing a certain shift post, but they wind up there because there was nobody else at one point in time here but us, the melanated people that was on every landmass. So quit letting these people tell y'all they came out of Africa, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that little tidbit. Take it away, brothers.
Yes, take it away.
Yeah, I don't know where's those at going. I don't know what he's doing. But I mean, like if y'all want to ask some questions or something, like I can elaborate or whatever. I mean, other than that, I have no clue of what's going on besides on that video.
As soon as I hit my mic, it kicked me out.
They be with the fuck shit over here, so they don't be wanting us to get our information out.
Man, that's crazy, man. People gotta stop with that. I'm black and the black and I'm black. Like you whack, you dumb, and you lack. LACK, lack. Knowledge. So we can't say we gonna start calling these people lack people. Take the B away. They don't deserve a B. Not an A or B. No. They're going to be lack people because they lack knowledge. And you know what I'm saying? Like we've been, speaking of the law side of all of the problem for a very long time in these communities. You know what I'm saying? Like, the forefathers, we represent standing on the real issue, which is the national standing. You know what I'm saying? And you can be anybody you want to be, that's fine. But when it comes to start getting this inheritance, it narrows down to your nationality, meaning what nation you connect to. And I mean, Aboriginal's cool too, you know what I'm saying? But even being Aboriginal, it'll tie you to the nation of being the American Indian nation of this land. So when you like the video was kind of, going in, but it's deeper than that as well. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to your national standing, when you become an American national standing in your own country or the country of birth, which will be the state they call it. So when you get to that point, you'll actually be in correct standing. You know what I'm saying? So it's really drawing yourself out of the system. This is the whole problem. And no matter what people want to be, that's fine. But drawing yourself out of the system is what is going to be able to get us into a going forward method. You know what I'm saying? Like Most people don't understand. Even when you go and try to sign up to these new corporations, these UCC, Cherokee tribes, and all of this stuff, they do it for you. But guess what? They contract you in, and they control any. Excuse me. They control any of your little allowance that you get from the government. It has nothing to do with what we're trying to do at all. The Native American tribes and these UCC tribes, they cannot inherit the American Indian Land Trust. They cannot inherit the American Indian National Debt. They cannot inherit. I don't give a fuck if the Native American say they're American Indian all day on their paperwork. They're listed white and they're listed as a business under some private governing body, which is a
Facts.
business. So I don't care. I got military ID. I was married to a military chick for 16 years. I used to go on these reservations because I'm clear. And the reason I'm cleared because you'll be passing military security. Now, why is indigenous or aboriginal people would be on a caged in location claiming to be the original people, but it bothers me that the deception of what these rumors people being told by them getting money from the casinos and all of this stuff, that's totally false. That's totally misguiding. It's wrong.
I'm
You see
sneezing
what I'm
over here.
saying? So when I'm visiting these locations, when I'm traveling and having to go where, with my kids and, wifey going to different states and stuff, I'm visiting every little, what I'm saying, location where they have these reservations. And they're worse than what we would call the slums or the ghettos where the
They
white
worse than
people
the
live.
projects.
Yeah,
Facts.
no, not projects.
Every little,
Projects ain't like
location
the
where they
slums.
have
See,
these
what I'm saying,
reservations.
when you're dealing with the slums and ghettos, you're dealing with places where constantly pile up on pile up and living there. So the projects and ghettos just be dirty and filthy. The slums and the ghettos be pile up and pile. It's just be like a whole neighborhood of a junkyard. So this is the same way a lot of the reservations are. The reservations are not pretty. They're not like private living locations with 3,200 square foot homes on it. No, like these places, like busted out windows with plastic on them, and got kids living in them. It's crazy. You would be astounded going to reservations, everybody. So don't go with this rumor and all of what people say.
Busted out windows with
You know,
Trust me, I've been to the Navajo and the Hopi, and they live in very, very poor, very poor on those reservations. Yes, they are.
Somebody got a feedback.
It's my mom.
nah, that was JoJo. Yeah, Joe, you must got your computer
No,
on too.
no, that ain't me. I don't have
No,
no
it was my
computer
mom.
set.
It was my mom.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, because both y'all in the same house. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, well,
actually, it's your
that's how
father,
I
Lyrical.
TV. I know it's your background though. They probably watching. My dad is probably watching it on the TV while.
Oh, okay.
Y'all
That's
please
dope
Yeah.
too.
smash
That's
that
dope.
like button to
That's
get
dope. That's dope.
get the video into the algorithm. Please smash the like button. Please, we have 161 people and I think like 109 likes. I know we
Right.
got some people, so we're not talking about y'all. We're talking about those who are literally here to learn something.
So 10
I got a
toes
couple of things
down.
that I came across that I wanted to share with everybody. Let me find it. This is for the ladies and for the men who purchase their ladies this type of stuff. Those rolls. I don't know if y'all got to see what was going on with that. Um, but we definitely need to be aware of, well, let me show this video first. Y'all wonder why our women are coming up missing and why they don't want you to take your placenta when you're in the hospital? Because they're doing this type of shit with your placenta.
Procedure that we do in our office for patients that have non-healing defects on the front part of the ocular surface, or for patients who have severe dry eye disease. This procedure entails applying a dehydrated amniotic membrane on the front part of the eye. The amniotic membrane is tissue that is derived from the surface of human placenta after a healthy birth. This tissue is harvested at tissue banks where the donor is evaluated for communicable diseases. So this tissue is healthy. We started out by numbing the patient's eye with an anesthetic. We then had to open the patient's eye with a speculum. This helps the patient keep their eyes open during the procedure. After drying off the cornea, we then place the dehydrated membrane on the front surface of the eye. After smoothing out the dehydrated, this is a procedure that we do in our office for patients that have non-healing defects on the front part of the ocular surface, or for patients who have severe dry eye disease.
They making money off of your placenta, basically.
These people think they're God, man. They got a God complex.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not all.
Man, that shit hurt my eyes.
Yeah, I was about to say it hurted my eyes just looking at that, bro. That's not all
My
they
bad,
doing.
y'all.
They're doing multiple things.
My eyes went.
They doing a lot, but that just gives you an idea.
Yeah.
That just kind of gives you an idea of the power of the placenta and the stem cord and stem cells and all of that type of stuff. It really gives you an idea of how powerful it is and how much money they make from it, which is why they tell you you can't take it with you from the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, y'all. I'm cool. Where is it?
What about the one I sent you, the dude?
Oh yeah.
I was about to start looking for
You
some eye drops.
You talking about the one I sent you the other day?
Mm-hmm.
You talking about the one I sent you the other day, Empress?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll stick some mini duct tape on their eyes and shit, peeling it off. Oh, that shit crazy. I was like, damn, where's my eye drops at, man? My shit dry now. Like,
Right? It made my eyes dry too.
It made my eyes dry. Just looking at it, I was like, now come on, man.
Look, turn my mic on. Time out.
Now, sister, so I'm gonna be honest. I don't subscribe to the Lotus birth. I did some research on where that came from because I'd never heard of the Lotus birth. And if for those who don't know what a Lotus birth is, that's keeping the placenta attached to the baby and just letting it fall off. I don't subscribe to the Lotus birth because it came from a Caucasian woman passing it off as an African tradition. That's why I don't fuck with it, because at the end of the day, our people didn't do that. Our people did consume their placenta, because what a lot of people don't know, it helps regulate your hormones. When you have a lot of people go through postpartum depression because their hormone, it's diet and all of that type of stuff, but it's also because their hormones aren't regulated. So I don't subscribe to the Lotus birth. I don't knock people who want to do it, but I just recommend that you go and research stuff before I just recommend that you go and research it. Yes, it's also good for breast milk production, Cleveland. Facts. Smoke Signal said, ew. Now consuming it, it can be dehydrated. You can dehydrate it and consume it in powder form, pill form. Yeah, that's cool. I'm just saying. I was just saying that from my perspective. I just don't.
At first, when you was in your mama's belly, y'all wasn't say ew.
There's actually a lot of traditions that our people got away from that we don't necessarily subscribe to anymore. Like people say, you change traditions, you move around, you create other tribes, and you do different things. So, certain people ain't gonna subscribe to everything. But I mean, that's something that we did do that they learned about.
We just mastered other things and moved on.
What is that? I didn't hear the first part he said. What did you say, brother? I'm sorry.
Oh, not saying not everybody subscribe to the same thing. Like that's an old tradition. Most people, we we get married. We move on. We have other tribes. We make new traditions, stuff like that. So everybody not gonna subscribe to that type of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. I got what you're saying.
Sister So no, she said no, it didn't come from the white woman. She stole it like they stole everything.
Right. I'm not surprised. What my thing was, it became very popular amongst our community, and it was passed off as a African tradition. And so that's why I was saying when I went and did research on it, I was like, okay, I saw who basically started saying that it was an African tradition or whatever, that who was passing it off as a ancient African tradition or whatever.
Think about it. They passed voodoo off as an ancient African, and it's not. Everything always got to do with Africa when it pertains to anything that's ancient. They want to say Africa is the oldest. Everything came out of Africa when we know that's a whole damn lie.
That part.
These people still a stink out of shit.
Matter of fact, Africa ain't even Africa. Shit.
No.
That part.
Facts.
That part. That whole part. Where am I? Okay.
Alright, yo. This video is definitely disturbing. This is a video game that came out in 2005, as y'all can see right there, Area 51. Now listen to what this shit say. Listen to this shit real quick.
Some have called our plans a Luciferian conspiracy. But they will not say such things after the coming of the new guard. They will hold their tongues. Not because they have had a change of heart, but because they will already have rotted out from the inside. The chips we've implanted in the majority of the population under the guise of vaccinations allow us to watch the watchers. Now, how could anyone say the pact was a bad thing?
What? No, that's not the. Was that the whole thing?
It was short.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it take. See, they already been plotting this, y'all. While we at home playing video games, they giving us hints and dropping gems and shit in the video game. Y'all just thinking it's a game, but the same way they drop jewels in movies and sitcoms and all other stuff, they put it in your games too.
It's part of the universal contract. They got to tell you. Whether it's straightforward or whether it's some kind of entertainment that the watchers, quote unquote, like us, gonna catch. If we catch that and we pass it around, you know what I'm saying? Then hey, they got told. But if they don't heed the warning, then that's on them.
I'm gonna tell y'all, I don't pay no attention to nothing that's really going on, but let them say that they done spotted Jesus coming down on the cloud. Y'all gonna see so many niggas jumping out of tubs, out of everything. Goddamn it, butt naked running because they think
they gonna be dancing down the street. They gonna be dancing down the street.
Yes, they think he said,
Hallelujah, hallelujah. We come to praise his name.
Yes.
Oh man.
See, niggas now talking about he may not come when he want, but he's always on time after all I
What?
people done been through.
Oh man.
That type of shit. Yeah. Everything we've been giving y'all, it ain't been fear mongering. It's about preparing. As Lyrica said, prepare to be pissed off. I'd rather I'd rather be pissed than pissed off.
Shout out to the gods and goddesses in the chat. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, peace and love
I
to
see
all
y'all,
the guys and
Frida. You know
goddesses
what
in
I'm
the chat.
saying? Hell
I
yeah.
can't see the chat to shout out everybody, but
Sister
love
Soul. I see
and
you,
respect
twin.
and honor to
Poppy.
everybody.
Rashida. I see Job Bricks in the building. You know what I'm saying? Rainstorm. Bright Mo DZ. Popping B.
I've been trying to. I was in the chat typing, but yeah.
Man, I was doing like 3 things.
So I'm sure you guys want to know what led me to going to the OBGYN. My period was lasting 3 weeks, and sometimes it wasn't coming at all. Like it went a month and a half without coming. So I made an appointment with my OBGYN to see what was going on. But if you guys don't believe me that this rose released EMF, I have an EMF tester. And what this EMF tester does, it shows you how much EMF has been released from a device or anything that's you might be skeptical about releasing EMF. So here we go. Right now it is at 0. I'm going to turn the rose on, and when I turn it on, you'll see what happened. See, the numbers jot up because the rose released EMF. When I turn it off, it goes back to 0. Each level of this rose release a higher amount. See, it's on a higher level, and it's next to. So I'm sure you guys want to know what led me to leading. Morning, everyone. Something been brought to my attention that I have to let you guys know about. It's very important. So this is a PSA. Please turn your phone up. Please listen to me, ladies. If you want to have more children, you need to stop and listen to this right now. I went to my OBGYN the other day. She told me my egg count was low. And for me to be so young, she inquired, like, she really wanted to know why. So as she started asking me, have I been having sex a lot? Have I been exposed to radiation? I'm like, no, I have not been having sex. I haven't been exposed to radiation. She's like, what about EMF? And what is EMF? That's an electromagnetic field, So this rose released EMF and it causes harm to your uterus, your reproductive system. My egg count is low because of this rose. Stop using this, lady. Morning, everyone. Something been brought to my attention that I have to let you guys know about.
I don't think these motherfuckers ain't came up with everything it is to put a stop to our reproduction. They literally trying to wipe. Either if they say
You know where
we're
that's
gonna
coming from,
breed
right?
them out,
It's coming from China.
Yeah. Oh, they all part. Hell, did you just heard them say how China owns African American? There's a man in China, goddamn it, own that shit. So every time you niggas go put African American down on your shit, go buy something pertaining to African American, his family is profiting off your black ass. How about that?
And also donate your body to, like, when you get your license, stop doing that. That's why they be killing people.
Sister Soul said, y'all freaky ass better stop being so sexually entertained.
Those toys.
Keeps the person's mind on eat. The thing about it, I know, like, when it first came out,
Those
it
toys.
was like, when I say everybody was on it, and I just, something in my spirit was like, no ma'am, leave that shit where it's at. And
I had never seen it until y'all, till that girl came out with it. I didn't know nothing about
it. It was the bee's knees last year. That's all everybody. I mean, I'm in a few different group chats with friends, and that's all they talking about in the group
When
chat.
they came
Girl, the
out
rose
with
this, the
when they
rose
came
that.
out when
Girl,
they
I
came out
got a
with the
rose. I don't need no man no more.
Ah!
Working full time, and I got a rose, and I got a black rose too, girl.
no,
I
yeah,
gotta ask, what's
heavy
the
dumb,
rose? This right here.
heavy dumb ass bitches be hollering, I got Jesus.
This
I'd be
is the
like,
rose
oh,
right here. It's a sex toy.
yep.
So, but this is the thing.
Boys.
It's not just the roles. It's any of them that have that technology. That any one of them that's wrapped in that silicone that have to have those high frequencies. All of them. It's not just the roles. It's just that the roles let the cat out the bag. But it's all of them. It's not just the roles. It's all of them that uses that technology.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust nothing from China, to be honest with you.
Even the dildo.
No.
China is a part of the eugenics against you. They play a major part. I keep trying to tell people when they pass that Asian fucking law, it's because they know that the motherfucking natives are Asians. And then they know all these other Asians is coming over here because they done fucked up their land. Their land is filled with all kind of bullshit where they been
Chemicals.
over there. Huh?
And all kind of chemicals and test products.
And they trying to come here now. Ain't nobody no damn fool. Y'all niggas better wake up.
They are getting the reparations.
Yep. Because they coming here saying they you.
I do not want to live back in my land anymore. It's broken down. I have no place to go.
Nigga better live out the street. That's what they better do. Better live like motherfucking what's his name? The one that said built the ark.
Noah.
Noah, yeah, they better live like that fake ass Noah out there on top of the water.
Mm-hmm.
They better start growing some food. That's all I know.
Yep.
Start growing, man. Smash that like button on the way in. Smash that like button.
Yes, the GMO penises. Mama Bell said, why you want to use a plastic rose? Really, look, let me tell you, I never used it, but the group chats that I'm in, I'm telling you, when I shared this information, y'all should have saw it. It was like, oh, well, some even said, well, good thing I don't want no more children. You really have to be saying that it's a good thing I don't want. So that motherfucker must, I don't know, it must really make you see Jesus or something. I'm telling you, it must take them straight to heaven.
Yes. They got
that straight to hell.
Either one. I was outdone when I went to a sex party, y'all, and they had anal beads and beads for your thing. I said, look, I don't even want to talk no more. This is just too much.
That's what I had to do for them, Frida. I had to break it down that it's not just about you losing your eggs. It's really you want cervical or ovarian cancer, like, because that's what you on the road to.
Yeah.
And we wonder why our women have fibroids like crazy. It's not just the stuff that we putting in our hair that's giving us fibroids. Like, it's all, I mean, you know,
lotion, it's everything's
I wonder if you farted on that motherfucker with his
my goodness.
Y'all had women. Back in the early 2000s, you would hear women say all the time, I don't need no man, honey, I got Jesus. I'm like, bitch, he dead. How you got him? You don't need his ass. What you gonna rub? What you gonna let her every night think he gonna come like Mary Magdalene? But she said she seen his ass.
Yes, another weapon of mass distraction and destruction because it's completely wiping people eggs. It's zapping your eggs, literally.
Wow.
Your eggs.
But look, she
Shout
went
out
and
to
sat
Job
back.
Bricks too. Job Bricks was the one who brought that to light. Like a couple of people, we were supposed to go live last month and share it, but we didn't. We had never got a chance to go live. Shout out to
Hey,
Job Bricks.
if I think about it though, like, you know what I'm saying, she just, got the motherfucker everywhere. Like, guaranteed, she didn't sanitize it or clean it right.
When they
She
tell us they're
Oh Lord.
sitting it on top of her phone and just, probably had her homeboy and all her friends like, this thing right here is what's, this is what's been killing me and my man from having kids. Look, why can't I put it on the phone? See how it go beep, beep, beep. And then she get right on the phone and be like, girl, I told you this. You see how you can get sick.
These women picking up the Bible, reading the Bible and everything. You might want to hunch the Bible because it's safe for hunching on the Bible if you want to get closer to Jesus.
Oh man, that faggot hippie ain't finna save nobody. I don't understand people, man.
Hey, look, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna explain this to y'all. If anybody don't understand what they was looking at, what an EMP, an electric magnetic pulse, and the electric magnetic field is not the same. A magnetic field is not. That's not the same thing. That's a magnetic frequency, y'all. And an electric pulse is a zapper, and that's what that is. That's what they use those on dildos. They
Okay.
use those on the toys for the men. They do the same thing because those toys heat up. And if you heat up, just like in your car, if you press that heating seat, you killing your eggs, your sperm, the same thing. You
Mm-hmm.
getting attacked from all kinds of ways, man.
Wow.
Yes. Getting attacked. The graphene oxide coming from the chemtrails, the
Mhm.
graphene oxide in the tests, all kinds of ways. Radiation poison.
So
Brown up.
Brown, that's hilarious. I promise you, that's what I in my group chat. That's what I told them. Ain't nothing like the real thing,
That
baby.
part.
Because they was really distraught, y'all. I'm telling y'all, they was like, man, this is this. I don't need to hear this type of news. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. It is not that serious. It's not that serious.
But that's what Caucasian societies have taught these people. That they'd
Yes.
rather have some fake shit than real.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, do them, but get your numbers down. They got a level playing field. Now they can wipe you out because you ain't training in nothing anyways.
Fact.
You ain't doing nothing. You ain't hunting no more. You're not planting your own food. You're not training. You're not doing nothing. You getting on stage and dancing. You Sambo.
And laughing, but it's so true, man. It's so true. That's why that video gave me life because I don't know why people be telling you, "Oh, I'm Indian," but be afraid to claim their own status. I don't get it.
I think
What are you
I think that
afraid of? It's something that you're supposed to do.
but it's a psychological thing. You can't you to most of our people, you can't say you something and then you can't prove it. Like one having your native tongue is such a beautiful thing. Just to be able to tell somebody or somebody asks you a question and you tell them, what you are. Well, can you speak your native tongue? Yeah, tell them something and then explain to them what it means. You know, they excited. They get excited, but then they know. But me saying, oh, I'm Blackfoot or something like that, and I can't speak Safani or nothing, you know, it make me look funny. I don't. I'm already don't dress the part, quote unquote. You know, I already don't ride a horse. I already don't, farm. I don't do a whole lot of things that we supposed to do. I don't
Yeah.
keep our traditions alive. that's hard for somebody like, for an average one of us to say. And it's heartbreaking because as true as we know it to be, for somebody else to believe that we lying, you know, to our face, like, and say it to our face that you lying, it's heartbreaking, especially when it's one of your own people.
But to be honest, I really don't care. Because I feel like this: nobody can tell me who I am, just like I can't tell you who you are. I'll tell you one thing though: if the Department of Health and Human Services, the birth certificate place, know who I am, that's all that matters.
Yeah, but for the younger people, it's hard for them to even figure out which way to go first. I mean, a lot of our people, even our older people, they don't know this stuff. They haven't been in here as long as you have, or your daughter, or Zoe, or Copper Empress, or me. They
Right.
haven't been in it that long, so they don't know where to start or where to go. And then when they do find out where to go, they running into a scammer.
And they're
They
running
running,
into
they
distractions, trying to
yeah, they
stop
run, yeah.
you from
And
knowing who you are. But we
I
have
mean,
to start. We have to start taking responsibility now to teach these children. I know it's hard because their uh, their focus is on certain things. They might not even be wanting to listen, but it's certain things now with the music that we're hearing from Ja Bricks, Cali, Threads 3000, Trey Ali. Now the music can come with the culture now. Just like now the Mexican Indians in New Orleans are just beginning to catch up and saying, okay, we are the real Indians. Even though now some of them are have still have that African mentality, but a lot of us are waking up, and that's why they're going to be more distractions and more people coming at you than ever.
that's true. That's true. Now I'm gonna be honest. I'm not one of them they're gonna come at because I mean I got it beat into me when I was 5. So as far as dealing with all of that, I know which way to go, and I'm here for anybody who want to go, who want to come with us, who want to learn what's up, who want to really know, you know, what's going on their land and how they actually govern themselves. Because like everybody keep thinking it's a whole government thing or one. No, it's a govern to govern thing. I govern
That's
myself one
right.
way.
That's
Copper Empress govern herself one way. Zoe govern himself one way. And my state of mind being from Texas, y'all state of mind being from Louisiana or Mississippi or Georgia or wherever you come from, knowing how to govern yourself to deal with each other accordingly. If y'all want to get with that, then I'm 32 years old. I just made 32 in February. I'm one of the young ones who already know all of this stuff. If you want to get with me, hey, get with me. Get with one of us. We ain't gonna
That's
lead
what
y'all
I
wrong. We
say.
righteous.
Giving people the tools to help them, not play around, because we done played enough. That's what's wrong with our people. We've been playing, and we the only people on the battlefield thinking it's a damn playground.
You
The
think
only damn people.
if the lights turn on, people gonna be worried about what you wearing? If they turn off these, they just stop everything, and they can because they're in control of it. What would you do?
Yep.
What do people think
It
could happen if
egotistical.
they had did a motherfucking 24-hour purge? United
It's,
States had decided to do a purge, let America do a purge. What do people think could happen? They gonna target all of the colored neighborhoods.
Yep. For you, the
yeah,
people
trust
that's running around here saying that you belong to the United States government, and it'd be nothing you can do because you volunteered, you did, you told them that you're their slave, and they are able to do whatever they want with their slaves.
people don't get about contracts. That's all that is, contracts. And it's up to you
Yep.
to either to agree with the contract or don't agree with the contract.
Yep.
But
So we know that that they letting all of these foreigners in here. I wonder if any of our people paying attention to stuff like this on what I have on the screen. White deaths exceed births in a majority of U.S. states.
Yep,
Oh.
that's happened in the last 20, 30 years.
Right. In 2016, more non-Hispanic whites died than were born in 26 states, more than at any time in U.S. history. Some 179 million residents, or roughly 56% of the U.S. population, lived in these 26 states. In contrast, non-Hispanic white, hereafter referred to as white, deaths exceeded births in just 4 states in 2004 and 17 as recently as 2014. White deaths also exceeded white births in the nation as a whole for the first time in U.S. history in 2016, according to data from the National Center for Health Statistics. When births, and we all know that when they add their statistics, it is not what they're telling us. When births fail to keep pace, when births fail to keep pace with deaths, a region is said to have a natural decrease in population, which can only be offset by migration gains. In 17 of the 26 states with white natural decreases the white population. It says, why did the Irish immigrate to the U.S.? It is estimated that as many as 4.5 million Irish arrived in America between 1820 and 1930. Between 1820 and 1860, the Irish constituted over 1/3 of all immigrants to the United States. In the 1840s, they comprised nearly half of all immigrants to this nation.
These niggas run around here calling me
Italians.
Native
Can I say something real quick?
Some lost puppies.
And the thing
Well, I wanna
about it
say-
is, karma is something. If you think you're gonna wipe out a people that was chosen, then you know you're coming up against yourself. You can't wipe out something that was chosen. We were the caretakers of this land, and it has to return that way.
Which one of the brothers asked, can I say something?
Oh, that was me. I was gonna say, the thing is, they have to try to keep numbers up, so that's why they got Ethiopians, Arabs,
Yes.
like the video showed, my man, the Egyptian, the copper colored Egyptian. They got all the Hispanics, the Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, all of them are under this white class because they're trying to keep the numbers up due to the fact that what you just had posted. I've been studying that for about last 15, 20 years too, and just watching how they're disintegrating from the different ecstasies to the beans, what they call mollies, and all of these opioids, all the way up to now. I've been watching how it disintegrated their population. I'm talking about most people didn't pay attention, but they were dying by the hundreds of thousands almost every year for the last 20, about 30 years. So their population itself have not just like our people, shootouts and all of that, and a couple of people get hit and 2, 3 die. They're getting wiped out by the hundreds of thousands off of just overdoses.
Yes.
So this is the problem where he's playing a part in. He's trying to get 100,000. What? Okay, you talking about a motherfucking country with millions of people? You gonna pick 100,000 motherfuckers out of 7 million people and shit to come to America? It's like, okay, are you trying to save your aunts and uncles and your cousins and all your nephews and nieces and their lineage?
Mm-hmm.
Because his bloodline is from Ukraine. So now the politicians are going into an emotional side of things to even help their systematic. People don't understand. That's why Biden hate fucking copper-colored Americans. He can call us any title he want to, but he hate to see the brown because he know when he did his genealogy and shit back in the day, he found out that his ancestors came here on the boat as goddamn orphans type shit.
Yep.
So he hate us because even when they got here, they had to come and work for us.
Yep.
So It's skin deep, as they would say. You know how them problems be skin deep. This shit is skin deep. These motherfuckers got hate that's skin deep. That's all I'm gonna say.
And they mad because they lease up. They upset because they lease up. That's the main thing. They know they leases up, so they scratching and surviving.
Read that.
And then they talk about hanging in the child line, there, okay? That's up.
Hanging in the child line.
Wait, they talk about what?
Hanging in the child line like on Good Time.
Hey, all of them had the same outfit on too. You know what I'm saying? The dingy black outfit with the black boots and the dirty white shirt with the black hat. You know what I'm saying? So anybody can go back and look at the pictures when they was getting off the boats and stuff, and you can see them by the thousands.
That's how they look when they came in here from Ellis Island, honey.
You know what I'm saying? Wherever they came from, off them boats, they came with them uniforms on. That all dirty, dingy, dark gray and dark black boots, dirty white shirt, no socks, no soap, no toothbrush, none of that either. You know.
Y'all know cold as hell.
So this song, listen to this.
Biden crime family and Balfour co-conspirators, elected officials, bureaucrats, social media censorship mongers, fake streaming media reporters, etc., are being arrested and detained for ballot fraud right now and over coming days.
Educational purposes.
Charges off Gitmo to face military tribunals for sedition. Molly,
let me play that again.
Yay, Trump! Go ahead.
Huge Trump and military White Hat sting operation, and Biden crime family and ballot fraud co-conspirators, elected officials, bureaucrats, social media censorship mongers, fake streaming media reporters, etc., are being arrested and detained for ballot fraud right now and over coming days, and will be living in barges off Gitmo to face military tribunals for sedition. Molly,
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Hey Joe. Hey Joe.
Hey. You know,
we've been on this before it hit. We was on this back in 2018.
Hey, look, I'm gonna be honest. This right here is why I've been just so calm and not been in the community.
Same here, guys. If everybody listening, if everybody been listening to our platform for the past 2 years, we've been telling people all y'all need to do is worry about your own business. Get your popcorn and watch the movie, because this movie is exactly primogenital shit. Time for popcorn. How long have we been saying?
Look, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna flat out lay it out, because Trump already told you, you know what I'm saying, learn your history or you was going back to it. You know what I'm saying? Now you either learn your history or you go into the previous history that you know. You know what I'm saying? Now, the history that you probably don't know is that you the CEO of this company, and they waiting on you to take hold of this company, and all shares and everything in this company gonna belong to you. That's who the new world order is. But all of these people going, you know what I'm saying, for military tribunal. And if y'all don't know what military tribunal is, you know, off with his head.
That's awful. That's Supreme Court judgment. That's above the United States. So when people don't understand, when you're dealing with the military, the military is above United States. See, the United States is a business that's occupied by governing bodies, which are employees. So when these fuck boys and these motherfucking goddamn backdoor boys and all of this shit want to perform and shit, and they ain't doing their job, you know, this is what happens. See, when Trump got in office, the first thing that he signed in order was a motherfucking indictment to goddamn get all these motherfuckers for Pizzagate, from down to the goddamn human trafficking, down to all of this shit. And we was already building on it, knowing that was coming, We were the forefathers and the arrows, the God arrows and all of them. We were building on this shit before it hit. We even was building on the fucking coronavirus before they released it as a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We was dropping it. We was telling everybody it was all a hype. It was. And listen, this right here, this ain't even done. That's why what Putin's doing over there is the same thing. See,
Same
what people
thing.
don't
Same
understand,
game.
Putin's draining a swamp right now over there on
Yes,
that
he
corner.
is. Most definitely.
Hey,
Facts.
That's all he
look,
doing. People
it's a
mad about that shit. He's draining the swamp. Go ahead.
hey that two-headed bird that you see that creates one power, that yin and that yang. See, a lot of people don't understand that it's one world power over here and another world power over there. That's why they facing two different ways on this one bird, but it's still all under one power. It's still under one government. It's
East
still
and
ruled by
West,
one.
Roman rule.
Facts. Facts.
Yep.
That's
East and
why.
West, the Roman rule. We are
That's
the Roman rule. We are the governing law. We are the motherfucking gods of the planet. We just don't have to goddamn ask for shit. We demand and tell motherfuckers. When you go to do your correcting your status, you telling motherfuckers everything. You not asking for no permission. You don't ask people questions about what to do. Definitely don't do that. So when you go to start correcting your status, putting your general power of attorney on that all caps name, you go and trademarking your name, you start going into doing these things. You don't ask no questions. You are the king. You don't ask king
that's
because they
right.
will quest in. So when you ask king, they're quest in. So they're going to go into they're going to invade your privacy. So the asking and question, these two words are magic and they're trickery. So as king, I am the king. So I don't ask anything.
That's
I
right. I demand. I tell you what I'm doing.
don't let them quest in either. So when they
That's
quest
right.
in, the word question is a quest in. Hmm.
Very fact.
So
Fact.
we gotta be the
That's
royal,
right.
you know.
Yep.
Sure do. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to
The
take
thing is,
responsibility.
our people don't know how much power that's for those who've done their genealogy. Let me back up real quick. Those who've done their genealogy and know who they are, they really don't know how much power they hold. They really don't. That's the problem. Genealogy. This is my key to everybody. You know, ancestry. They have a 14-day free trial, and then they have a lot of other. I have a list. I have to go and find the list. I ain't seen it in over a year. With a bunch of free sites to do your genealogy. That's the most important thing. So that you know who you are, and you can stand square when they come to you with the bullshit. You have the right to self-identify. And when you say who you are and you got the proof of who you are, it's all that matters.
Yep, you're just correct. That's all that matters.
Right. But yo, I gotta be getting up early. I'm gonna ride in this video with you, and you know what I'm saying, you
We
know,
all
what, but
Yeah,
what
I'm
the heck?
getting like
You were saying that was Yuzo saying you got to get out of here.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, somebody like take off your personal channel. The wall frames of videos be funny as hell though, man. I ain't gonna even lie. I send some weird stuff here. But yeah, I gotta get up and start building, man. I'm working on this big old church cathedral style joint, you know what I'm saying, on the Wampa Lampa factory, you know what I'm saying? It's amazing project, you know, but I'm absorbing everything that they already did. So now, you know,
that's
that's the
awesome.
thing. We gotta start being the motherfucking sponges, you know, everything we see absorb it.
That's
You see
right.
people doing something. You see people doing something. Learn how to do it while they doing it. You know how
Yep.
to do it by the time they finish.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
I appreciate you
But
guys.
yo,
I really do.
love the gods, love the goddesses, love all of y'all, man. Love the
Yes,
empresses up
love
the
to you
panel.
too.
You know
Love
what
to
I'm
the
saying?
chat.
Yes, peace, love, and
You
light
know
to
we
y'all.
love
Thank
y'all.
y'all for y'all support as well.
You know,
Yes, definitely.
flowers while they here. You know, Godfather, I'll be hollering at you tomorrow, my brother. You know, I got to tap out.
Peace and
Yes.
love.
Peace
All
and love,
right.
y'all.
Please smash that like button before y'all leave up out of here.
Oh, it's already tagged.
Okay.
Everybody smash that like button. Let's do it. Until next time, we will be on the build again. 10 toes down, boots on the ground. Let's go.
That's right. Yes. Boots on the ground. Peace and love, everybody. Chief
Peace.
Olodi.
Play a couple of songs before we get out of here. Y'all know how we do. Thank y'all for coming out. Peace, love, and light, everybody. We appreciate y'all. Come and share y'all energy with us, and just come and, we'll be back.
Yes, we
Nowhere.
will.
For those, before I go, let me share this. For those who are in New Orleans and surrounding areas, we have an event coming up. I'm trying to make sure the weather don't fuck up our shit, but if it does rain, Wednesday, March 30th, I'm gonna share. We have an event called Puffin Pot, and basically it's introducing the community to basic gardening. But of course, we're gonna have, people can. It's a area where you can freely smoke and everything. But it's $25, and you take home 5 plants, and it's 5 plants of your choice. We have so much that we've been growing. Strawberries, bell peppers, onions, garlic, different types of peppers, different types of herbs, cucumbers, different types of melons. And like I said, it's Wednesday, March 30th, and the sessions are at 12 p.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m.
Oh, did you say herbs?
I did. I was talking. I mean, we're gonna be smoking herbs, but we also growing herbs.
They probably think y'all got potted herbs.
When I say herbs, y'all, I'm talking about rosemary. I'm talking about basil.
Yeah. Well, you can't smoke all those, but it's
you can though. You can definitely smoke. Like I mix my cannabis with other herbs. Like rosemary is a great herb for memory for those who don't know that. So yeah, if you got some dry rosemary, roll it up and smoke it and see how you feel.
Oh well, I was telling you because I need it. I be getting brain fog, but I know where it's from though. But I get brain fog.
Yes, Happy New Year, Euclid. Thank you for that, Mama Bear. Happy New Year.
Rebirthing.
Now I can get to the music. We're gonna play our brother Ja Bricks first before we play our going out song.
Yes. Peace, love, and light, y'all.
Royal, all of my needs they royal. All of my needs they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crime, girl, you royal. Wait, royal. All of my needs they royal. All of my needs they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crime, girl, you royal. Wait. Woo. I just had to catch my breath. I just had to stack my checks. Shorty got ass, God bless. Damn. I just had to stack my chips. I just had to grab my grip. A lot of niggas mad I'm rich. I'ma have to smash they bitch. Pull up in a maxed out fit. VLN on the logo, moving solo with the stick. Block jumping like a pogo, come and pull up on the strip. Told her pull up and get lit. So she pulled up and she stripped. Damn. I don't need all the attention. I just need all of the pension. Run the bill up like a piston. Wait. Told them, but they didn't listen. Fuck it, I teach them a lesson. I ain't got time for the stressing. Damn dog, is you kidding me? You know that we Aborigines. I don't give a fuck if you feeling me. As long as you watch how you grilling me. My knee G's making history. Brother, some diamonds at Tiffany's. She a carbon queen and she feeling me. So you know she matching my energy. Royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crown, girl, you royal. Wait, royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crown, girl, you royal. Wait, so to fix your crown, girl, you royal. You ain't got time for the low vibes, but you know I'm feeling your vibe. You a black woman, you go God. Heh, heh. You could trust me, girl, I promise. My only choice to be honest. I feel like it's perfect timing. When we hit your party, we getting it lit. Hit it YBs if I need me a fit. He got the sauce, yeah, he got the drip. We gon' keep grinding until we get rich. Smoking exotic, I need me a zip. My Aborigines be with the shit. Rushing your shit and I call it a blitz. We trying to find us some money to split. Can't break bread, then you fake then. Free all my guys out the state pen. Her only wet, yeah, it's leaking. She said she want me to eat it. Had to ice her out, now she blinging. Dying for what I believe in. Dropping new heat every season. Call me a vet cause I'm seasoned. Call me a vet cause I'm healing the dogs. Roll me a wood, I ain't talking the law. Brought me some land, about to buy me a mall. Stand up nigga so I cannot fall. Chasing clout, then I won't get involved. Oh, that's your girl, then I'm testing the jaws. Said you was lame, so she gave me the draws. Feeling like Rick Ross because I'm a boss. Royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crown, girl, you royal. Wait, royal. All of my needs, they royal. All of my needs, they loyal. We ain't the same, we ain't normal. Wait, adore you. Baby girl, I adore you. Pretty face and she loyal. So to fix your crown, girl, you royal. Wait, royal.
Man, when I tell y'all the soundtrack to our liberation is the best, I put the link in the chat. That's our brother Ja Bricks. Go and check it out. And again, peace, love, and light, everybody. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we thank y'all.
Everybody, love and light.
Going out with our regular song. Go ahead, Empress. I'm sorry.
He said, who's this again, y'all? That's Ja Bricks. He's right there in the chat. King Collins. He's in the chat. Ja Bricks. That's his song. But okay, peace, love, and light. Thank y'all for coming out and building with the Matriarchs. We ain't gone nowhere. Yeah, we take a break in between, y'all, but Matriarchs got boots. Remember that.
Always got on boots. Hello, somebody.
Got to move out into the country.